Hello everyone and welcome to the Sleep Health Foundation and ASAC Emerging Sleep Hero inaugural event. Thank you so much for coming on a Friday night. Thank you to everyone who put a submission in. It was really high quality and we've got 5 finalists tonight. Just want to remind you that it is happy hour, so you can have I've got an empty glass here, I didn't get quite around to that, but feel free to have like Marcy, a little drink and a lot of activity. It'd be really nice to cheer everyone on with your claps online on Zoom. Would have been great to all see you in the flesh tonight. We usually have the debate, or we usually have like the final dinner, and we're all having a dance, and we dance so much we sweat, and it's really, really lovely. So this is instead of that, the Sleep Health Foundation put in this symposium, because we'd like to obviously tell the community out there what we do with sleep, but also within our own sleep community. Often people don't know who the Sleep Health Foundation is and what we do. So this is our way of engaging with you as well. So I'll hand over to Andy Tucker, who's heading up the ASAC, and he'll tell you all about that and where that fits in with the Sleep Health Foundation. So good luck to everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Moira. Good evening, and in some cases, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Tucker, and I'd like to welcome you all here to the first Sleep Week Happy Hour. Or sorry, the final Sleep Week Happy Hour, the Sleep Health Foundation's Emerging Sleep Hero Awards. Along with the Sleep Health Foundation, the Emerging Sleep Hero Awards is co-hosted by the newly launched Australian Sleep and Alertness Consortium, or ASAC for short. So I wanted to take this opportunity just to briefly introduce ASAC, because most of you, or many of you wouldn't have heard of it. So it's a new research and development consortium established within the Sleep Health Foundation's organisational structure. With the Cooperative Research Centre for Alertness, Safety and Productivity coming to the end of its 7-year funding period in June this year, ASAC was developed to continue to build upon the collaborations, outputs and research translation pathways established under Alertness CRC, and will maintain a focus on sleep, health and wellbeing and performance across occupational healthcare and road safety research programs. Now, just as the focus of ASAC is on research translation, so too is tonight's Emerging Sleep Hero Awards, where you'll hear from 5 very impressive finalists who will each give you a 5-minute creative pitch about their research and how it can be used in practice to have a positive impact on society. And to further showcase and acknowledge the legacy of Alertness CRC, tonight's esteemed judges are all early career researchers from Alertness CRC academic nodes. So now, before we start proceedings, I would like to acknowledge and thank ResMed, our Emerging Sleep Hero Award Happy Hour sponsor, and also Sleep Week Platinum sponsor. And Philips is our other Platinum sponsor. And last but not least, I would also like to thank Moira from the Sleep Health Foundation for pulling this whole event together. So thank you so much, Moira. Now that's all from me. Enjoy happy hour. I'll now hand over to tonight's chair, Dr. Amy Reynolds. Over to you, Amy.
Thanks, Andrew. And a big thank you to the Sleep Health Foundation team for the privilege of being able to chair this Emerging Sleep Hero Awards. I did think, and much like Moira said at the start, normally by this point, everyone's a bit dressed up and ready for the night. So I thought, given our theme, it was probably most appropriate that I put in some effort. So I'm ready for our heroes. And you best believe, all of you, that if we have a conference next year, I'm probably going to make you wear the costume yourself. But for now, I'll take one for the team. We'll get dressed up and ready to go. And I even have, courtesy of Book Week this week, everything else got cancelled in the era of COVID, but not Book Week, my cape ready. So I have great pleasure in announcing that we have 5 finalists this evening. We have Lucy Weimer, Meagan Crowther, Hailey Meaklim, and Clare Ladyman and Karen Redhead. Our judges for this evening are Dr. Alex Volko, Dr. Amal Osman, and Dr. Tara Tekye. So our first finalist who's going to present tonight is Lucy Weimer. Lucy is a Doctor of Clinical Neuropsychology candidate at Monash University in Melbourne, Australia. She completed a Bachelor of Psychology Honours at Deakin University and graduated with first class honours. Her doctoral research at Monash is being conducted in conjunction with the Monash Epworth Rehabilitation Research Centre at the Epworth Hospital. She is currently the trial coordinator of an Australian-wide randomised controlled trial investigating the efficacy of cognitive behavioural therapy for sleep disturbance and fatigue following acquired brain injury. Throughout her candidature, she has had clinical training in assessment, diagnosis and management of individuals with neurodegenerative conditions, acquired brain injury, and psychiatric and neurological conditions. Lucy's presentation title is Treating Sleep and Fatigue Problems After Brain Injury. Welcome, Lucy.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me here today. I've created this video to showcase my research in treating sleep and fatigue problems in individuals who have sustained a brain injury. Brain injury, caused by head trauma or stroke, affects a growing number of people in our society, 2/3 of whom are aged under 65 and still engaged in productive activity. While physical disabilities may occur, the more prominent effects of brain injury are invisible. Problems with memory, concentration, or speed of thinking are very common. However, the most pervasive symptoms reported by up to 70% of people with a brain injury are sleep disturbance and fatigue. Sleep problems after brain injury might include difficulty falling asleep, waking up a lot throughout the night, or extreme sleepiness during the day, leading to napping. Fatigue can be felt both physically and mentally. These debilitating problems affect a person's capacity to complete basic daily activities, as well as work, study, social and leisure pursuits. Unsurprisingly, they have a devastating impact on a person's quality of life, often leading to anxiety and depression. To date, there have been no effective treatments identified for sleep and fatigue problems after brain injury, and this represents an important research goal. So our research group has created a novel treatment termed Cognitive Behavioural Therapy for Sleep and Fatigue, or CBT-SF for short. CBT-SF teaches individuals with a brain injury strategies and techniques to manage their sleep and fatigue problems. Sleep interventions include changing the timing of sleep or the sleeping environment, minimising long naps during the day, practicing relaxation strategies, and tips for getting back to sleep in the middle of the night. Fatigue management involves incorporating regular breaks and rests throughout the day, building time management and organisational skills, and engaging in regular daily exercise. An important component of our cognitive behavioural therapy treatment was its adaptation for cognitive and memory problems that can impact a person's ability to benefit from the treatment. These adaptations included the use of simplified language, repetition of important points, and pictorial aids and cues. And in order to determine whether the content of our CBT-SF treatment was effective, we compared it to a generalised health education program. This health education program taught participants about a number of health topics related to brain injury, including the brain, sleep and fatigue, exercise and diet, stress and substance use, cognitive difficulties after brain injury, and recovery from brain injury. Each participant in our study completed 8 one-on-one sessions of either CBT-SF or health education with a neuropsychologist, and these sessions could be undertaken either face-to-face or using video conferencing. So, what did we find? We found that participants in the Cognitive Behavioural Therapy group showed improvements in sleep quality and fatigue during the intervention that were maintained up to 4 months afterwards. The health education group, in contrast, didn't show any improvements in sleep or fatigue during the treatment, but had a slower improvement in their sleep quality, showing improvements only at 4 months after finishing the treatment. Another important finding was that the mode of delivery, face-to-face or video conferencing, made no difference to whether a person benefited from the treatments. Most participants were highly satisfied with the CBT-SF and said that they found the strategies and techniques helpful in managing and reducing the severity of their sleep and fatigue symptoms. This study represents an important step towards improving the quality of life of people with a brain injury and helping them get back to leading a more meaningful life. In the near future, we hope to translate our findings into clinical practice by publishing this treatment and providing training to psychologists so that the therapy can be more widely available to people with a brain injury who experience these debilitating problems. Thank you so much for your time and for watching this presentation.
Thanks everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I think I'm going to hand back to Amy now to go to the next finalist.
Fantastic, Lucy. Thank you so much. I am so impressed by some of these tech skills. All right. Our next finalist, we'll keep moving through, is Meagan Crowther. Meagan is a second-year PhD candidate with the Appleton Institute at CQU University Adelaide. In 2018, Meagan completed her Bachelor of Psychological Science honours with her thesis entitled Perceptions of the Impact of Non-Standard Working Arrangements on Health. Since that time, Meagan has published her honours empirical study, worked on a systematic review which evaluated existing fatigue countermeasures in high-risk occupations, and collaborated on the studies investigating prevalence of shift work disorder in Australian workers. Meagan's current research focuses on sleep, health behaviours and health indicators in the shift working population. Meagan hopes her continued research within the field will contribute to the development of effective interventions for improving shift worker health and sleep outcomes. The title of Meagan's presentation is Making the Shift Work, Supporting Health and Safety in New Paramedics. Welcome, Meagan.
Hello, all right, I'm going to bring up some slides. Okay, can everyone see those okay? Yeah, perfect. All right, let's go. Well, sorry, computer glitch.
We're working long hours, then we go home, try to sleep and work another long shift. And then we're having to go to the general public and treat whatever comes along. With that, you're getting fatigued. We do our best to try and maintain our standards, but when people are tired, human factors occur.
These are the words of John McCormack, an Australian paramedic. John's experience is not rare. 9 out of 10 Australian paramedics regularly experience fatigue. 88% of these paramedics said it was impacting their work performance. This is particularly concerning given that their work involves making timely and critical healthcare decisions. Australian paramedics report significantly higher levels of depression, anxiety, stress, and poor sleep quality. Beyond this, paramedics are also 7 times more likely to be seriously injured at work. We know that sleep loss and poor sleep quality contributes to fatigue. We also know poor sleep can lead to occupational accidents and in healthcare settings can result in errors that jeopardize patient safety. Poor sleep is also linked to adverse mental and physical outcomes for individuals. This is a heavy load for our paramedics, risking both their safety and their long-term health. It's time to do something about it. I am Meagan, a recently confirmed PhD candidate. Tonight, I'm going to explain to you how my research aims to answer 2 key questions to improve the sleep, health, and safety of our paramedic workforce. Question 1, how does sleep change in response to working as a paramedic? Compared to the general population and even other healthcare professionals, paramedics are more likely to suffer poor sleep. What has not yet been established is just how sleep changes in response to working as a paramedic. This makes it hard to suggest useful strategies for coping with these work demands. To understand how working as a paramedic impacts sleep, we must look at new paramedics before they actually begin work. In our study, we are assessing change by measuring sleep and health indicators longitudinally, meaning over a period of time. In collaboration with the South Australian Ambulance Service, paramedic recruits begin participating during their training. Then, every 3 months during their early career, paramedics will answer questions about what shifts they have worked, their stress levels, even what foods they've eaten. Paramedics fill out sleep diaries for 1 week at each of these time blocks, reporting how many hours they slept a night and how well they felt they slept. For that same week, paramedics also wear a special watch that monitors sleep length and quality objectively. Investigating change longitudinally from prior to beginning work allows us to monitor how sleep changes in response to beginning work as a paramedic. Question 2, who is most at risk of poor sleep as a paramedic? Paramedics in our study also provide demographic information such as sex and age, information about their health behaviours, chronotype and personality factors. This allows us to look at the relationships between changes in sleep and other factors that may influence sleep. For example, does sleep change differently for male and female paramedics? Do younger paramedics show a better health response? And what influence do factors such as being a night owl have on sleep? From this, we may be able to identify future paramedics who are more vulnerable to the impacts of sleep loss even before they work their first shift. Then we can make useful workplace and individual recommendations to support these paramedics to have better sleep. At the end of my PhD work, I hope to be able to tell you we know how sleep changes when you work as a paramedic, and that we can identify and, most importantly, support paramedics most at risk of poor sleep. From this, we have the foundation to make a real difference and improve the sleep, safety and health outcomes of our paramedics. Imagine if paramedics like John, the ones who come when you or your loved one need them most, were getting the sleep they required. In my emerging sleep hero research, I want to improve sleep in heroes. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Meagan. Well done. Our third finalist is Hailey Meaklim. Hailey is a psychologist and a research scientist with a special interest in sleep psychology. She works as a psychologist at St Vincent's Hospital Sleep Centre in Melbourne and is also completing a PhD at Monash University. Her PhD aims to improve psychologists' training in managing sleep problems in clinical practice. She is currently co-chair of the Insomnia and Sleep Health Council for the ASA and is on the Behavioural Management of Sleep Disorders Education Subcommittee. Hailey has worked in a range of research and clinical settings, including Melbourne Sleep Disorders Centre, the Institute for Breathing and Sleep, and Monash University's Project REST. She holds a Master of Psychology from Swinburne University of Technology and a Bachelor of Science Honours in Psychology degree from the University of Melbourne. The title of Hailey's presentation is Psychologists Are Waking Up to the Benefits of Sleep. Welcome, Hailey.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Amy. I'm excited to be here today. I've actually done a little pre-record of this because I'm just a little worried my internet might not quite hold up tonight, and it's also not my optimal circadian timing at 7 p.m. on a Friday night. So bear with me. Let me share this video. Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide. People with depression experience a negative mood that can last for months, and most have difficulty sleeping. And these symptoms of depression can take a huge personal toll. They also cost the Australian economy around $12 billion every year in healthcare-related costs, but also lost productivity. Now, antidepressant medications are probably the most common form of treatment for depression, but they don't work for everyone, and only around 50% of people improve. They also have a whole host of nasty side effects, such as insomnia and making sleep worse, weight gain, headaches, and even sexual dysfunction. And so these side effects mean that many people don't want to take them. But what if I could tell you there was a natural treatment available for depression, one that you could access for free each and every single night? And this treatment had positive side effects, better mood, less negative thoughts, improved cognition, and even improved sex drive. Well, you may have guessed it, but this treatment is sleep. Good quality and quantity of sleep that is so often disturbed in depression. Now, by addressing sleep disturbances that occur in depression, we not only improve sleep, but we can also get reductions in depression severity. And that's because there's a two-way relationship between our sleep and our mood. For example, if we're feeling low and ruminating over all the negative things in our life, then it can be really hard to switch our mind off and fall asleep at night. If we don't sleep well, it can be even harder to regulate our mood the next day, and so becomes this vicious and escalating cycle. Now, our healthcare practitioners normally focus on the daytime symptoms of depression and not so much on the nighttime symptoms. But research is showing that if we actually address the sleep disturbances that occur in depression, such as insomnia, using evidence-based psychological treatments, we can actually get similar treatment effects to antidepressant medications without all those nasty side effects. But there is a barrier to treating sleep problems in depression. The main one being that our healthcare professionals really don't get much education in sleep at all. I know that during my training to become a psychologist, I only received a 2-hour lecture in sleep. And this really didn't equip me with the knowledge and skills that I needed to address the sleep problems that I saw in clinical practice. But given that a study sample size of N=1 doesn't quite cut it in research, I decided to go back and do my PhD to investigate this important question of how much education do our psychologists get in sleep? And the answer is not much. We found that postgraduate psychology students around Australia reported a median of 1 hour of sleep education across their entire postgraduate training. So to put this in perspective, this Sleep Health Foundation session tonight is 1 hour. And as wonderful as this session is, you're probably not going to walk away from it with all the skills and knowledge that you would need to treat complex problems in mental health conditions. Now that we know that sleep education is really limited for psychologists, I wanted to do something about it. So I collaborated with an international team of sleep experts to develop a sleep psychology training workshop designed specifically for postgraduate psychology students. This 6-hour practical workshop was designed to improve their sleep knowledge, but also to teach them sleep assessment skills, but perhaps most importantly, how to deliver evidence-based treatments for sleep problems, such as cognitive behavioural therapy for insomnia. So far, we trained 200 postgraduate psychology students from around Victoria. And what we found is that trainee psychologists' sleep knowledge significantly improved from 54% before the workshop to 77% afterwards. Students also provided excellent feedback on the workshop, with 85% recommending that all trainee psychologists should go through this sleep training. So my mission now is to take this sleep education to the next level. Firstly, I want to get this sleep training into all postgraduate psychology programs around Australia and ensure that sleep is a key part of the psychology curriculum. Then I want to train doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals in sleep, as they also don't get much training in this area. From there, we have a real opportunity to reduce the burden of depression in Australia and potentially save the economy billions of dollars every year. But we can even expand beyond this, as sleep problems commonly occur in almost every single mental health condition. So if we can upskill our entire healthcare professional workforce, we have a real opportunity to improve the mental health care of all Australians. So thank you very much.
We're covering some serious ground here with our fantastic emerging heroes, from acquired brain injury through to paramedics and now educating educating psychologists with sleep. So well done so far. Our next presenter is Clare Ladyman. Clare joined the Sleep-Wake Research Centre at Massey University, Wellington on a doctoral scholarship in 2016. Prior to joining Sleep-Wake, Clare completed an undergraduate in sports science at Edith Cowan University and a postgraduate diploma in sleep science at the University of Western Australia. Clare's PhD research findings highlighted the strong relationship between sleep and mental health throughout the extended perinatal period and the longitudinal sleep education pregnancy intervention for women at risk of depression relapse, showing promise for improving sleep and minimising depression. The education material used in the intervention has since been published as a book titled Sleeping Better in Pregnancy, which provides sleep information and practical strategies to help women get the best sleep possible throughout pregnancy. Clare is currently living in Perth, Western Australia, and continues to collaborate with the Sleep-Wake Research Centre in New Zealand, as well as looking for other research opportunities in Australia. The title of Clare's presentation is I Could Cope So Much Better If I Could Just Get a Good Night's Sleep. Welcome, Clare.
Thanks, Amy. I'm going to hopefully hand over to Marcia, who is very kindly going to press play on my video, which I recorded earlier this week. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Meet Dr. Evil Sleep, slayer of sleep, destroyer of dreams, the dawn of disruption. My partnership with Count COVID was perfect. Ruined the sleep of, well, everyone. A great addition to my lifelong work. Parents are my greatest achievement. First with those itty-bitty babies, through to teenagers on P-plates. But I want more. Let's get them before they're even born.
I know this is meant to be an entertaining pitch, but...
Can we get serious now?
This is the beginning of life. Those first 1,000 days are the most crucial development time for our children. And to have the best shot at life, our children need their mothers to be healthy. But 1 in every 5 women will experience pregnancy or postnatal depression. Mothers with depression have worse obstetric and birth outcomes and have more issues with infant bonding, feeding and sleeping. Children and teenagers of depressed mothers are at greater risk of delayed developmental milestones, have more behaviour and social problems, and are more likely to experience depression as they grow up. Add to this that poor sleep and depression are strongly bidirectionally related, with up to 97% of women experiencing disrupted sleep during pregnancy. It's not at all surprising that you'll often hear mothers say, "I could cope so much better if I could just get a good night's sleep." So if poor sleep and depression are so common, so strongly related with such devastating outcomes, why aren't we trying to improve sleep right from the first trimester to help minimise depression? Pregnancy sleep is one of the most popular pregnancy searches on the internet, but comprehensive, up-to-date, evidence-based information is scarce. First, I explored the sleep and depression patterns of 856 mothers, from late pregnancy to 12 weeks postnatal to 3 years post-birth. I found that a mother on the blue line who has elevated depressive symptoms in late pregnancy has an 83% likelihood of experiencing it again 3 years later. If the mother is Indigenous, the pattern is similar, but the likelihood increases to 98%. On a more positive note, the orange line shows that if mothers have minimal depressive symptoms in pregnancy, they are also likely to continue on that trajectory. This is crucial. If mothers are mentally healthy at late pregnancy, there's a great chance of them staying healthy for the next 3 years. Great for mother and fantastic for the child. So let's look at the relationship between mothers' depressive symptoms in the chronic high group and their sleep. I'm going to focus on these last 3. Having greater sleep disruption, poorer sleep quality and more difficulty getting to sleep significantly and consistently increase the odds of being in this trajectory group, even when adjusting for key lifestyle and demographic variables. So what can we do to help mothers with their sleep and mental health without medication which pregnant women are so reluctant to take? Fortunately, pregnancy is a key teachable life stage with women keen to improve their health for the health of their baby. Enter Miss Good Sleep. Think of Miss Good Sleep as a sleep teacher in a comprehensive sleep education intervention called Sleep Happy, starting early in pregnancy to prevent depressive symptoms and sleeping issues before they become a problem. Miss Good Sleep, aka me, met women individually in every trimester and we discussed sleep, why it's important, how it works and why it changes in each trimester of pregnancy. We then discussed a toolkit of trimester-specific sleep strategies to help them get the best sleep they can. So did the intervention work? At the end of pregnancy, the intervention group mothers were able to get to sleep and stay asleep and had significantly better sleep quality than the comparison group. More importantly, while the comparison group had the expected 1 in 5 mothers with elevated depressive symptoms, all of the intervention group mothers had minimal levels of depression and hopefully the beginning of that orange line trajectory. Reassurance and confidence can come from having knowledge and strategies. Even knowing what is normal can alleviate worries, so just imagine the number of sleeping issues and mental health problems that could be minimised or prevented if a sleep health program such as this was available to women. And that's what's exciting about this research. Yippee! The education material from the intervention has been published into a book. Being the first of its kind globally, mothers and maternal clinicians can now access sleep health information they can trust and use throughout such an important stage of life.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Claire. some really high quality slides coming through from all of our presenters so far and such clear messages. Well done. Our fifth and final finalist tonight is Karen Redhead. Karen is a sleep scientist and PhD candidate at the School of Medicine, the University of Notre Dame. She has worked clinically as a sleep scientist for over 20 years and is passionate about the importance of sleep for mental and physical well-being. Her research investigates the link between obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, and her adverse pregnancy and newborn outcomes. Her published work has shown an important interaction between maternal OSA and perinatal depression. Karen is from the University of Notre Dame, Perth. Her presentation topic is Pregnant Women, OSA and Depression. Welcome, Karen.
What if we could better identify women at risk of depression in pregnancy? New research from Western Australia suggests that identifying sleep apnea in pregnant women may make this possible. Researcher Karen Redhead from the School of Medicine at the University of Notre Dame explains.
My research shows that women with sleep apnea are 8 times more likely to experience depressive symptoms severe enough to warrant referral to a psychologist. We've all had a bad night's sleep. Imagine sleeping badly every night. This is what happens when you have sleep apnea. We've investigated the sleep of over 300 women in 2 studies in Western Australia. All these women have worn a monitor for one night to assess if they have sleep apnea. And we found around 15% of women get sleep apnea in late pregnancy. One of the changes that happens during pregnancy that isn't spoken about a lot is that women start snoring and have sleep apnea. Snoring occurs when the upper airway relaxes and vibrates, making the snoring sound. If the upper airway relaxes more, it causes obstruction to airflow, which is sleep apnea. In my research study, we recruited women who were greater than 26 weeks pregnant, and we got them to wear a device to screen for sleep apnea. That device measured airflow and oxygen levels. And we also got everyone to complete the Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale, which is the most common used tool in pregnancy to screen for depression. Now, when we look at sleep apnea, we're actually looking for these periods of time where it's flat. This is a block of airflow. And we're also looking for periods of time where there's a distinct drop in airflow that's joined with a dip in oxygen levels of at least 3%. 124 women were included in the study. The worse a woman's sleep apnea, the more symptoms of depression she experiences. And this is exacerbated if she already has a history of depression. As you can see, women with no sleep apnea have relatively little depressive symptoms. Once you have sleep apnea, they increase significantly. But if you have a history of depression, they increase to a bigger extent. So this way we might be able to identify women at the biggest risk of depression in pregnancy. All depression screening questionnaires are designed to pick the people who have depressive symptoms that are probably severe enough to mean they have clinical depression. But because we don't want to miss people, they're actually only about 50% accurate at the normal cutoff. However, the higher the cutoff or the higher the score, the more likely they are to have clinical depression. So in my study where we actually looked at people with a history of depression, on average those women, when they had sleep apnea as well, their scores were 19, almost 20, which is indicative that they would most likely have clinical depression. Maternal depression has adverse outcomes for mothers and their children. It's been shown to relate to children having developmental delays and to interfere with that secure attachment that mothers and babies need for babies to thrive. It's also been shown that women who have depression when they're pregnant or during pregnancy can actually have teenagers that are more likely to develop depression themselves later on. So the impacts are long lasting. So if we can better identify those women at risk of depression, and we can reduce the impact for mothers and their babies long term. The second study that I've done is a longitudinal study with a big group of people. And in this study, women were recruited at less than 20 weeks gestation, and they completed a clinical diagnosis of depression screening, plus a questionnaire, plus we collected some biological samples, and we got them to wear the sleep monitor, and also a wristwatch to tell about their sleep too. At 32 weeks gestation, we repeated the sleep apnea measurements and the questionnaires. And then at 12 months postnatal, we repeated all the measures again. 120 women completed the first sleep study and 105 the second. and there's actually about 95 who are actual full sets of data. At the moment, these results are preliminary, but what we're showing is similar to the first study. In women with no history of depression, sleep apnea increases depressive symptoms. In women with a history of depression, sleep apnea has an even bigger effect on depressive symptomatology. These findings suggest that screening for sleep apnea in pregnancy may help us to identify the women at the biggest risk of depression and target interventions to ensure better outcomes for them and their babies.
Thank you so much, Karen. I think it would be fair to say, and it's really hard because I'm going to clap out loud because nobody else can hear. And I think if there's one thing that would be clear is that each of our 5 contestants would have had resounding applause if you were presenting to a room full of everybody at the conference. So I want to thank all 5 of you for such brilliant presentations. I think we are extremely lucky to have such talented early career researchers certainly in our foundation. And I also, I really think we are going to be spoilt for choice here about who our emerging hero is. Now, we're going to let our judges have some time to deliberate about their winner. In the interim, we do have some live polling. So for the People's Choice Award, I would encourage you all to jump on. And I think the poll, Marcia, is the poll appearing in the next minute? Is that the plan?
Give me 1 second. I'm just sending the judges off to the room.
Excellent.
First.
Thank you.
Alex, Amal, and Tara. Where's Tara? There she is. Okay, judges, here you go.
I do not envy them that task.
How long have I give them? Oh, they can come back when they want.
We'll keep an eye out for them.
Okay, yes, the polls. Okay, People's Choice Award. Here we go. Launching the polling. You only get to vote for 1 person, by the way. None of this everybody thing.
Everyone has to pick one.
Okay, here we go.
Thanks for that, Marcia. It works really well. I must say, I know where to go next time I need to get some good graphics and audio visual kits for my presentations. I think you would all make my my undergraduates very, very envious because my presentations perhaps don't look quite that fancy. They were fantastic.
Amy, can I have a little word just while we're...
Go for it, Moira.
Just wanted to say how impressive they all were. Yeah, and I agree, it's such a difficult job for the judges. And in the first round as well, like when people originally put their submissions in and we had to just choose 5, that was really hard as well. It was just such high quality. And I should have thanked the 4 judges on that round 1 were members of the board, the Sleep Health Foundation board, but not me, because I sort of knew quite a few of the students, etc., was involved, so I stood back from the judging. But thank you to Dot Bruck, Gemma Paik, Rita Harding and Jennifer Lowe. So they did a great job in that first round, and very grateful to these judges that are busily judging right now in their breakout room.
I think it's really exciting. Andrew talked at the start about translational research and research that has implications. And, we have 5 finalists here who were able to tell us exactly how their research can change the way people live, really, in a range of different areas, certainly was apparent. So I think hats off to all 5 of you for such brilliant research communication and telling us just how your research will make a difference. It was a pleasure to listen to.
All right, we're ready to see the results of the poll. I think everybody's voted now. All right, take a deep breath. Here we go. Hang on. Yes, here we go. Sorry. Can you see that, Amy?
We can. I can see it. And so according to our audience today, Clare Ladyman is our People's Choice winner. Well done, Claire. I will go through the. Perhaps I'll go through the prizes now before we have our before we have everyone come back. So our oh, hang on, let me just get. I've got my list of prizes here. So our first place, according to the judges, will receive a complimentary registration for Sleep Down Under and a cash prize of $350. Our second place winner will receive $200, and our third place will receive $100. And our winners, both People's Choice and also winner according to the judges, will be promoted as emerging sleep heroes by the Sleep Health Foundation as well. So, do we have any judges back with us yet, Master?
No, it looks like they're still deliberating. I'm just going to pop in to make sure they're not stuck there, okay?
Excellent. I agree with you, Jen. I would love to see this be a permanent fixture on the agenda for the conferences for the Sleep Health Foundation. It's great to see our young researchers in the spotlight. You know, certainly a very exciting opportunity. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I think it should be hopefully a permanent fixture, alongside the great debate as well. I think that's but that certainly needs a crowd. I don't know. We could have probably had a go at the debate online, but a bit difficult.
I think this is a great alternative this year for sure.
I think I think it's just wonderful for these up and coming brilliant researchers who not only could talk about their research. Such good quality research, but how it's going to be translated into practice is what we're looking for. What the judges are all discussing now are those sorts of things about just the reality of how feasible that's going to be and how convincing they were with that. And so, but yeah, I'm glad I'm not in that room judging right now because you're all so good. We could probably have we didn't have a formal Q&A, or we didn't want to put everyone on the spot for that. Didn't certainly have the time for it. But if we're waiting, we could probably, if anyone has any particular, don't want to put any candidates on the spot, but any just general comments, or feel free to unmute yourself and have a bit of a chat to the group. It's like Absolutely. A family reunion, really. It's really nice seeing all these people I haven't seen for a year. So, yeah.
Please do. I'm sure everyone's heard enough of my voice for one evening. Do we have any questions for our presenters?
Perhaps, can I ask a question? It's Shantha here. Hailey, I was interested in how did you manage to reach so many psychology students to deliver your program? How did you manage to get such wide reach?
Yeah, well, we were pretty, I guess, impressed by it. We just contacted all the different psychology programs around Victoria and just sent them an email, and we had so much interest. So it, I think we contacted 8 or 9 programs, and we had, all but 3, I think, take it up. So there's definitely a demand there. And, I think it's just once they know about it, they realize what they don't know. And so I got asked to come back to a few different universities as well. So, it's been really successful, and the students really seem to get a lot out of it and take away some practical skills, which is great.
Excellent, thank you.
I had a question for Lucy. I was very impressed with all of the presenters actually, but I was particularly intrigued with Lucy taking on what is a very difficult population in terms of managing their sleep-wake behaviours. And I'm just wondering if you had a lot of individual variability in response to your program, or was everybody helped at least a bit? So I wonder if you could just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it's a really great question, and it's actually something that we're looking at as our next analysis, is what predicted, whether people improved or were more likely to improve after the treatment. I would say that just anecdotally, that pretty much everybody I spoke to afterwards said that they got at least something out of the treatment. I think definitely some people tended to benefit a bit more, particularly those people who really hadn't had any treatment at all for their sleep or their fatigue problems. Whereas some people, we sort of found they had already tried quite a few things. Maybe they'd already had a go at the strategies, found, on their own, found that they weren't so helpful, and maybe they didn't take as much, but they definitely, I would say, everyone learnt at least one thing that was helpful for them. And one of the really great things about our neuropsychologists was that they were so great at really adapting and being flexible with their treatment, and really trying to help people with the brain injury to actually be able to take on the strategies if they had problems with their memory or concentration. They were really, really great at being flexible and helping people to get the most out of it. So hopefully that answered your question.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely.
No worries.
I think we have time for one or two more questions if anyone else had anything to ask for our presenters. Very quiet.
Maybe could I take this opportunity for people to put in an example or some suggestions for the debate topic for next year? Please put that into the chat. Or just think about it in the next 6 months.
That's a very good idea.
Let's hope we can meet in person next year.
So the two we've had so far, for those who might be new, Moira, were the upper airway trumps the circadian rhythm, which was last year, and what the year before.
Oh gosh, it
would have put you on the spot.
Yeah, we've had 3 in the recent year. Gosh, I was
you had one to do with wearables, didn't you?
I thought that was the wearables one.
Yes, the wearables that was in New Zealand, wasn't it? The first
wearables was the first.
To wear or not to wear. Oh yes.
No, that was. Yeah, was that in New Zealand? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy, you were that one? Yeah. Do you remember the exact name of the topic? To wear or not to wear?
I think it was to wear or not to wear. That rings a bell.
Benefit, the pros and cons of wearing a trackable, wearable device. But then the fake news was the one I know is I wonder if Nat Marshall's here. It was the one in just the year before last, not 2 years.
Sleeping less.
Yeah, the fact that we're sleeping less is fake news.
The sleepers for wimps, wasn't it?
What was that, Andy?
Wasn't it something like sleepers for wimps? Or something like
I think that's what someone said, probably, in the debate. That sounds like a statement from someone in a debate. Many things get said in debates.
Yeah, it was along the lines of, that we're all told we're sleeping less, but is that fake news? That was good. They're always good topics. This year we were hoping to do one on like dreaming or something like that. So is there anything, no one's put anything in there, I don't think. Oh yeah.
Sleepers for whims would be a good topic, of course.
Yeah, wouldn't it? That's a great one.
Our judges have returned, Amy.
Oh.
Fabulous.
Hold that thought, Bob.
Welcome back to our judges. I'm just waiting for, yes, Helen, Bob should be one of the speakers for the next debate. I would just like everybody in this room to remember this, because Bob managed to dob everybody else in for last year's debate and left himself off the list. So I reckon he definitely comes up at the top next time.
Facilitator, Amy.
That's all on record. It's recorded now, Bob. Whip that out next year, I think. All right.
And plenty of witnesses.
Plenty. Excellent. Okay, so we will start. So first of all, before I announce our winners, I just want to say congratulations to you all. The translational content that you presented was fantastic. I'm going to announce each speaker starting with third, and then one of the judges is actually going to jump in and say something about each of the placeholders. So it is my pleasure to announce tonight that in third place was Hailey Meaklim. And I'm handing over to
me.
Tara. Brilliant.
Congratulations, Hailey. And I mean, like, all the works, all the talks were great. They were class. And it was really hard to, you know, pick one. With having said that, all the presentations were like in a really highly standard form. But with Hailey's work specifically, because of the value of the study and the need for this subject around the world, in this country, it's really important for the education on sleep relating to the depression. So we thought that it would be like, it's a value of work educating on sleep in terms of depression. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tara, and congratulations, Hailey. Tonight, our second place goes to Meagan Crowther.
Well done, Meagan. Excellent presentation. I actually do research in emergency personnel, so this talk was really, you know, close to my heart, and yeah, the way in which you sort of, you know, conveyed the research clearly, you know, creatively, with great enthusiasm and passion for the area was, you know, you were definitely a very worthy second place recipient. So congratulations again on your excellent presentation.
Congratulations, Hailey. I'm very proud of you. And our first place tonight goes to Clare Ladyman.
Yay!
Well done, Claire.
Congratulations, Claire. So I just wanted to say that we had a really hard time deciding on who would get first place. We thought everyone's talks were fantastic, but I think what stood out to us on Claire's presentation was the impact on society and this sort of preventative approach in education in such an important topic, particularly in women, was really good. So congratulations.
Congratulations to you all. Now, Moira, I just want to check, did you have anything you wanted to add before we wrap up tonight? Or Marcia, given that this is our last session for Sleep Week. No, nothing from either of you before we. Well, I wanted to give you the floor.
I'll just say I'm just going to say thank you. It's been an experience, and it's been nice to meet so many of you, even though it's through a computer screen. And I really hope that we get to meet each other in person. Oh, look, it'll take a year probably, but you know, I'm looking forward to that time. So thank you.
I'd like to also say thank you to Marcia and her team. I think they've done a fantastic job. And I think it still has that community feel. I mean, I was even excited by the AGM yesterday. It was quite nice just to have people, seeing people and people gathering. So it was nice. Claire is obviously the emerging sleep hero, which is fantastic. And we'll be featuring her on our social media. She'll get the free conference pass to next year's conference, Sleep Down Under. And all 5 will have a free Sleep Health Foundation membership for the rest of this year and next year. And cash prizes coming your way as well, which is great. So thank you to everyone. And please consider having this again and encouraging people to participate. So thanks, and I think that considering the calibre of all of the presentations, I'm pretty sure, but we're thinking this about all the rest of them anyway, the people who didn't make it to tonight, that we'll actually feature everyone at some point anyway, because it was just such valuable research that we need to tell the rest of society, the rest of the world what you're doing and how it's going to impact on improving people's lives through better sleep. So thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks very much for doing such a great job with this and the judges. And thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you all for having me. And I will be making sure to chase down our winners and make sure that they're appropriately gowned at our next conference. Thank you so much, all of you, for sort of coming along on a Friday night. And it's really been a pleasure. Thank you to our presenters. It was brilliant listening to your research. I've really enjoyed it. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you all have a great weekend.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, Helen, thank you to our judges. Again, you did a great job. It was not easy.
And to our sponsor, ResMed, as well.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. And also to our ResMed, obviously, as our Emerging Sleep Hero Happy Hour sponsor, but also as the Sleep Week Platinum sponsor as well. Thank you. The other thank you we need to say is also to Philips as our Platinum sponsor too. Thank you all so much.